Hello, yes, that's right. It's Joe here for Joyrider TV. This is the final standings of the 2022 Speed Stick. Oh yes, you guys have been out there sending it hard, and this is what the results are going to be looking like. We had 82 entries in total on the Speed Stick this year. I'm only going to be going through, since the last video, any new entries on the Speed Stick and anybody who has changed position, who has notched it up. Otherwise, we'd be here all day. And then stay tuned to the end, because we're going to be looking at the all-time top 10 standings. So let's jump in, and we're starting off in 79th position with Logan, who's just 12 years old, sailing a Hobie wave on Lake Perris, California, USA, speed 12.2. Then also on a Hobie wave in 78th place with a speed of 12.7, we have Scott at Black Butte Reservoir, California. The Californian waves are out. Oh yes, we want to see more Hobie waves in the 2023 Speed Stick. And then in 76th position, we've got Oscar and Charlie sailing a laser in Tipperary, Ireland, with a speed of 13.3. That is cooking the goose. Yes, we do accept monohulls, trimarans, foiling boats, catamarans, whatever you've got, we'll accept them on the Speed Stick. And then in 75th position, basting the turkey, we've got Tobias on a laser, an old one he'd like to specify. Sailing in Greece in Arcadia on Tyros with a speed of 14.04. And then in 73rd position, we've got sailing on Grosse Plönernsee, Germany, on a Happy Cat, which is one of the inflatables. Very nice. We've got Klaus with a speed of 14.3. Do you sail an inflatable catamaran? Would you like to get on the Speed Stick? Then get on the Speed Stick. It's there for everyone. You don't have to be gunning for first place. It is a competition for you to compete against yourself and other people on similar boats. In 72nd position, sailing a Hobie 16, notching it up, we've got Tim and Thomas in Navarre, Florida, USA, 14.4. And then moving up the list into 67th position, solo on a Hobie 16, we've got Greg sailing in Crystal Lake, Michigan, USA, 15.61. Now this is very respectable. 15 knots single-handed. You are clipping along nicely. Very good job. But in 64th, we've got Paul from Italy sailing a laser radial right here with a speed of 15.68. Now that is cooking in a laser. I could tell you that for free. 57th, and this is Justin, sailing out of Oneida Lake, New York, USA, on a Hobie 14 Turbo. We've got Jose with a speed of 17 knots. Yes! And Jose is only 175 pounds. That is a good speed indeed at that weight. Into the top 50, 49th, we've got Nicholas and Jorg sailing the Novacat 16 as featured on Show Us Your Cat. This is a home build. Very nice. On Grosse Plönernsee, Germany, with a speed of 17.7. Mega. Then in 48th, we've got Jonathan sailing a Prindle 16 on the Somerset Reservoir in Vermont, USA. Speed 17.8. Nice work there, Jonathan, on the Prindle. Then back to Oneida Lake, New York, with Armando and Jose on a Hobie 16. Speed 18.3. We are cooking now. Anything above 18 knots, whatever you're sailing, is extremely respectable, and you should be very pleased whenever you cook the goose in that way, in that region. In 44th, we have got Vincenzo, Ali and Francesco sailing a Hobie Tiger with 3 people. Yes, you read that correctly. Sailing out of Fregene near to Rome, Italy with a speed of 18.57 knots. We are boosting some juice here. Then in 39th, notching it up for Matt, sailing out of Chesapeake Bay, Maryland, USA, speed of 18.7 solo on the Hobie 16. Then in 35th position on Oneida Lake, New York, USA, on a Hobie 18 Magnum with spinnaker, we've got Armando and Jose with a speed of 19.2. This is definitely the fastest speed stick we've had. Let's see what's going to happen next year or this year. Then in 34th position, we've got Stephen and Daniel sailing a Hobie 16 in Bayfield to La Pointe, Wisconsin, I believe that is, USA, 19.3 knots. Great stuff there, guys. And then also on a Hobie 16, just a little bit quicker, we've got Eric and Sydney sailing on the Indian River Lagoon, Florida, USA, speed 19.4. And now we're really into some mustard. Yes, we've got Richard in 26th place, sailing solo on a Hobie 16 out of Bear Lake, Utah, USA, with a speed of 19.8 knots. And then in 24th position, we've got Scott and Eric sailing a Supercat 20. Oh yes, this excites me very much. We don't have a lot of Supercats, Thundercats, or there are some rarities that we're not getting on the speed stick. Sailing out of the Black Boot Reservoir, California, USA, 19.99. Notching it up to 22nd position for Lorenz and Ruth, sailing on a Hobie Fox, sailing in Austria, in Poddersdorf, with a speed of 20.3. Very nice indeed. So in 15th place, we've got Ed sailing a Hobie 16 solo. Oh yeah. Now you probably think this is going to be the fastest Hobie 16 solo. Well, you'd be wrong. There are faster. Unlucky for Ed. Sailing on the James River, Williamsburg, Virginia, USA, speed 20.92. And then just in the last entry to the speed stick this year was on a Hobie 16 solo, sailing out of Lake Weber, Queensland, Australia, Jimmy Carpenter, 21.50. And watch this guy fly. Oh yes, this is absolutely cooking. Great stuff. If you're in Australia, anywhere in the Southern Hemisphere, get involved. The speed stick, as you will have noticed, is very USA heavy, and we need to even the balance somehow and get more Southern Hemisphere sailors on the stick. So get on the stick. All right, so now we are into the top 5. All right, we're going to go for the whole top 5 because this is where it is getting very hot indeed. And in 5th place, and the fastest Hobie 16 solo we have ever seen on the speed stick or any speed stick, we've got Scott dropping it in the slot, Cultus Lake, Oregon, USA, with a speed of 22.77. Using those whirlwind sails and EPO rudder blades very nicely. Great job there, Scott. Great speed. And then in 4th position, we've seen them quite a lot on what went wrong, and it shows that you can't make an omelette without breaking a few eggs. Yes, that's right. It's Ryan and Mark out of Maui, Hawaii, sailing the Nacra 500 called Honeycat with a speed of 24.7 knots. Now this must have felt absolutely incredible. What a great job there. Then in third place, sailing out of Pensacola, Florida, USA, on a Nacra Inter 20. This is a beast of a boat. And this is Reed and Reed Jr. banging it in with 24.9 knots. Once again, I hope this felt good and not that you were just so close to 25. But this is amazing. Great job there, guys. Very pleased for you there. Then in second place, we've got David and Phil sailing a Hobie 16, the fastest Hobie 16 of the year. Sailing out of Lake Bodensee, Steckborn, Switzerland. Yes, you heard that right. They're fast in Switzerland. With a speed of 25.2. Wrapping up warm. Great job there, David and Phil. And hopefully we'll be seeing great things from you this year on the Speed Stick. Which leaves in first place and taking the crown for 2022. No stranger to the Speed Stick. We have got Scott sailing with Jamie on his Prindle 18.2 special, sailing on the Texas City Dike, Houston, Texas, USA, banging it in very fast, 25.7 knots. Great job there, Scott. Fantastic stuff. Okay, so as promised, on to the all-time leaderboard. We're just going to have the top 5 here. But in 5th place, and we just saw them there, on the Hobie 16, and absolutely banging it in. And actually, the fastest speed in Europe of all time on the Speed Stick was David and Phil sailing the 16 in Steckborn, Switzerland, with a speed of 25.2. Then in 4th place, we have Scott and Jamie, as we just saw there, on the Prindle 18.2 special, 25.7. Now, in 3rd position, the same boat. Now, is this allowed? Yes, it is, because there's someone else steering the boat, and that is Bryce sailing with Scott on the Prindle 18.2 special, Galveston Bay, Texas this time, speed 25.8. Now, this is clearly a very fast boat, but as we know, the Hobie 16 is also a very fast boat. And putting in the most respectable 2nd place, Steve and Trey sailing a 16 out of Cocoa Beach, Florida, with a speed of 26 knots. This is absolutely cooking the goose. Oh yes, it is. This is down the mine shaft like you wouldn't believe. And then in 1st place, the Australians are taking it home. You'll be pleased to hear if you're an Australian. On a Hobie 16, we've got Guy and Steve sailing out of Cairns, Queensland, with a speed that is quite simply unbelievable. So fast. 27.6 knots. Check out all of the information you need to know in the description below, and I'll see you soon with some more on Joyrider TV. If you want to know how to get faster on your boat, check out this video here, and this will unlock some of the secrets to how to sail your boat faster. Oh yes, it will.